Okay, so it's time to talk about Shokugeki no Soma, chapter 129. Now, it is revealed now that it is Subaru who was the guy who he gave the key to. Now, I said that my first guess was Hisako many times, um, but I did say in my chapter 126 review at the very end that maybe my second guess was going to be Subaru, but then I kind of like second guessed myself because of the skin color. I thought maybe it was too light for him. But nevertheless, I was sort of on the right track when I said my second guess was Subaru, but I was dead wrong about Hisako, but whatever. um, and apparently the Shokugeki no Soma Etoile is coming on sale, the first volume, which is like 3 or 4 chapters. The whole thing. It's a spin-off with Shinomiya. If you don't know about it by now, it's pretty good. Um, so this chapter is very good, and for a couple different reasons. Number one, I'll get back to Subaru, but number one, the reveal of what this meatball meant for, you know, what inspiration the moon had to do with it, where it splits open after a certain period of time, and it looks like the caricature of a moon, which slowly melts and sort of erupts into like this ridiculous aroma, like which is like curry. Um, this this sort of curry aroma that just kind of explodes into the air, and you can see that he purposely waited for this line to pile up before doing it, where everybody in line, they're all right next to Kuga. Or, I mean, they're in line for Kuga. They're all right next to Soma's cart. And so the smell instantly attracts the entire line. Even Kuga, even Speedwagon is afraid. But even Kuga turns around and is like, what the fuck is going on? Um, and, the guy who bought one of Soma's dishes, which again, this guy was, I'm pretty sure because he was familiar with Soma. He was either a customer from Yukihira back in the day, or he was part of the customer base. I think we saw him before, but I think he was part of the customer base that Soma was building at night when he was giving out stuff for free. So again, there are multiple layers that are coming into effect in this one chapter, and they're all just kind of unfolding. Um, the fact that he was able to build somewhat, like even one person's loyalty. He was able to build one person's loyalty with free food and his amazing cooking basically set the stage for everything else. Because with this new inspiration, this again live cooking. I mentioned this before. He didn't have that live cooking with the with his pork buns because it was inside of a wooden this wooden oven. But here it is again, this live cooking. Even though they're not looking at him, they're seeing something unfold before their own eyes inside somebody's dish. Similar to the congealed soup stock in the beginning of the series when he was being judged by Erina, and she fucked up big time. But so you know, it does come back to my cooking again. What is my cooking? And basically with Soma, he likes to revamp a lot of dishes and do this kind of transformation where things kind of transform before your very eyes. Um, that's part of his cooking. It's a lesson he learned from Shinomiya. And so this is really, really good development for Soma. Um, and so I really have to give it up to Sukara Yuto, um, the story, um, the person who writes the story, the author, because if you don't know, it's written by somebody and drawn by another. It's written by Sukada Yuto and is drawn by Shunseki. Um, both are just amazing. Um, they're just both, they work in such a great tandem where the story is really really well written and the artwork is just unbelievable. Um, but I'm getting off topic. But anyway, structurally speaking, this is really good development because we've seen layers of this before, and it's all sort of building up into this point where he's learning in Totsuki and other things, and he learns from Shinomiya what is it my cooking means. He learns this from being in Shinomiya's kitchen. He learns it from losing to Hayama in the autumn election. Um, and by the way, if you haven't been watching the anime, that second opening actually shows Soma losing to Hayama and Kurokiba, the latter of which is sort of incorrect because we don't know if one was better than the other. But anyway, so like I said, structurally, this is a really, really good story plot point, and it works because it's developing Soma's cooking and his character simultaneously. Um, and I did feel like I needed to spend some time talking about that because, um, you know, it's very important to note, even though this is more, this is a fan servicey type of manga. It's a lighthearted one, but you have to realize that the story is very structurally sound as well, and so um, it's something to take note of if you are wondering why Shokugeki no Soma is as good as it is. That's one of the reasons. Um, so yeah, everything looks great. The artwork is awesome in this chapter, and Subaru comes in. So you know, obviously, as you read the chapter, we know that things are now piling up on Yukihira, um, and so they need another person because Soma's fast, Tadakuro is fast, but they need a third top eight autumn election person, and that person is Subaru. And as much as I didn't like Subaru, I thought this was funny for him. The Where he did the I have about 10 more years of experience than you, senpai. That that was funny. Where he did that fucking look that Soma had. Oh, that was wonderful. It's almost like Shunseki and Yuto. It's almost like the two of them are making fun of their own work. Because it's sort of funky and badass at the same time. And then just Subaru making fun of it is even more funky, but less badass. And so ultimately the meatball is called the lion's head, which before we had the visual of a lion up against a cat. However, now Soma is his own lion, visually speaking. Um, that lion looks awfully familiar. I don't know what I recognize that thing from, but I don't know why. But it looks familiar to something else I know. But yeah, this is now a battle between lions. Um, so with Subaru's help, this is going to be quite interesting because when he gave him the key, it seems like what he did was prepare for putting out a bunch of Mapo sets. Essentially, he's trying to be a second Soma. So almost like you have two Somas and Tadakoro working together. Granted, Subaru's not as good as Soma. We know that for an absolute 100% fact. Well, I guess that's not true because we did go through the stagiaire period. Who knows? Soma might be better than Hayama and Kurokiba, and Who knows? Maybe Subaru's surpassed him. I doubt it. I'm not saying that he is. I'm saying that Soma is still better than Subaru. And but I'm just saying we don't know for 100% certain. I take it back, damn it. Um, so yeah, I mean, the rankings could have changed. You never know. Kurokiba might be better than Hayama. Hayama might be even better than the two of them again. Who knows? But that's it for this chapter. This was a great chapter. Um, and yeah, so 3 top 8 autumn election characters against 8 seat Kuga, the Hishi It of the Elite 10. So that's it. I went on a bit long, but I usually do for these chapter reviews. So that's it. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you guys next week.